So when it comes to startups and profitability, where do a lot of companies, if you had to point to kind of like the number one area that gets stuck, where do they get stuck? Whether it's in their mindset, their spending, et cetera. And then how do you begin to enlighten them to get unstuck?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's a big question. And I can tell you, both from prior experience and other businesses that we can surely talk about, as well as in Pentane, where companies, early stage, small businesses, let's say sub 20 million, generally not intentionally, they don't often go out and get themselves in trouble on purpose, is with fixed expenses. And it's not that they add OpEx just flippantly. I mean, surely some of them do. And, if you look back at the ZERP era where money was free, you could sort of fundraise indefinitely to offset that OpEx. The challenge is that they add fixed expenses, operating expenses into the business without having any understanding of how the revenue and the marketing, the return on ad spend, all of those like mission critical metrics, how they need to change in order to pay for the additional expenses. They just kind of go at them, and they add them and assume that it'll be okay. And this sort of growth trajectory they're on will live forever. And as you add weight to the business, it changes. The company changes, the functionality changes, the efficiencies change, and the outcome is generally a pretty dire one.
Yeah. And so you come in and advise them, if they were to reverse engineer and rethink one thing, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, so Pentane is a software tool. It's a SaaS platform that takes my last decade of experience building a consumer brand from, the company was called Bottle Keeper. We built it to 8 million in sales in 3 years with no investors, no debt, no employees. A lot of that was because we knew financially how to pull levers inside the business, how fixed expenses impacted the business, so we never had them. How to use advertising dollars in a way that produced, like plannable outcomes, strategized outcomes, as opposed to just sort of throwing the spaghetti against the wall. And we sold that company in 2021. And after that, I got into companies that we had, consulted with, and I was just helping them out. They were companies I had invested in. And I quickly realized some were small, some were big, and all of them were profitable. They had no idea how they were making money. They just knew they had expenses and they had revenue, and revenue minus expenses at the end of the year equals net profit.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you. I love what you're talking about. When it comes to the fixed expenses, advertising dollars that you can quantify, and it's important to take a closer look at all of those.